Namaskar. I'm Shobna Narayan. I'm a Kathak dancer. And well, many people come to ask whether it's advisable to take performing arts as a career. And why not? It depends on one's interest. Let us face it, once we pass out from school and we have to channelize our course into certain directions where in the future we are able to earn a living for ourselves, we start thinking, what is the best option? What career shall we choose? Now, the question before us is there are a number of questions open to us. One is, what are your own interests and potentials? That is one. Number two, what is your aim in life? Is it just to earn money or just to earn instant name and fame? Or is it to be able to have a good life, but at the same time, peace of mind and happiness within yourself? These are tall questions before us, but we have to face up to them and answer them because that is how we are going to be charting our future course that we will be taking. Now, as far as the performing arts are concerned, there are so many avenues open. It is not just a question that you choose a direction and then you end up being something that you don't want. Because here is, in case your interest is there, I'm using the word, in case you have the basic talent, potential, and interest, let the heart dictate the way. Because finally, when you are doing what you want, you will do it with your full 100% heart in it. A person who's very good at drawing could go in for several options are available. Graphic designing is available, advertising is available, animation is available. These digital media is available. Um, so you have so many avenues open to you in this part if you have a basic sense of artistry within you. Designing. Suppose if you have the artistry of singing or of theatrics or of dance, again, there's a vast horizon which opens up. There's the television media, which is a very powerful media today. There is the various digital media. Then you have, of course, the rather big screen entertainment. Now, here again, you have to decide whether it is popular entertainment that you're going in for, or a different kind of an entertainment, or you're going for the classical arts. So these are very different options that you have to choose because here again, you have the theatrics, you have the music, the instrumental, as well as the dance. And then, of course, the fine arts. Even in fine arts, craft designing. Now, all these media that I'm telling you, the fields that I'm talking about, it's just not that you learn it, it's a skill acquired and that you start mastering it. There is much more to it because each of those skills requires knowledge of the other skill. They are all interrelated. Nothing is compartmentalized into just this and I just know this, because each one is so interrelated. It reminds me of, of a beautiful uh, legend in the Vishnu Dharmottar Puran, where sage Markande is there's a discussion of a king with a sage Markande, and he says he would like to learn the uh, art of craft. So the sage says, "Oh, well, sure you can, but do you know how to paint?" And then so he goes to learn to paint. Once he's learning painting, he says, "But do you know how to sculpt?" Because you need to have the form, you need to know what the forms are. Now, once he goes to learn sculpture, he says, "But do you know the art of dance? Because then you will know what movement is all about." And when he goes to learn dance, says, "Do you know what music is all about?" Because even with the dance and every movement that you do, every eye movement that you do, yeah, there is music in it. You have to understand music. So, what does it show? That finally all the arts are interconnected, interrelated. There is no such thing as just I know X and therefore there's no need for me to know Y. Here it is all inter. At the same time, there is interconnection of other streams and disciplines of knowledge. If you're in the arts, any form of arts, you have to know your geography. What is the how geography has influenced, how climatic conditions influence development, say, of a fabric, development of a design, development of a dance movement, development of a note, a musical note, development of instruments, development of rituals and customs. Because even to understand the different forms of performing arts, you have to understand your own deep rooted culture. Here again, not only that, you need to know mathematics, because there's again a discipline behind that. Everything is based on calculation. There is a certain format. There is uh, it is completely, uh, if there is a, if even if you're going for graphic designing, I mean, the size of the face and the size of the body and the balance between the two, everything has a certain calculation, mathematics behind. But finally, everything has to have rasa, reason. There is a feeling behind it, there's a power behind it, there's an emotion behind it. Each of those aspects are very important. Now, in order to grow in any field that you choose, one has to keep learning. We cannot stop learning, because every day, every moment is a new learning experience. So even whether you take history, geography, mathematics, etc., or the performing arts, you have to keep updating your knowledge, updating your skills, because then only will you be somebody in that field. It is so, if you can be anybody in the field, but if you want to be a somebody in the field, in your chosen field, then you have to keep updating your knowledge and keep getting deeper and deeper into your subject, because that depth brings out another flavor. It brings out stability. It brings out firmness in your subject. And therefore, that tree which grows from it and starts flowering, it's able to appreciate everything around, not only withstand all storms, but also to appreciate, be able to appreciate all aspects around. the variety that is available around, and then take the best. It's like taking the best Poland with you and furthering your own growth. And there, in that growth, you're able to also spread that fragrance. So it's very necessary to keep growing. Whatever you do, keep going. But finally, I would like to mention that whatever you do, it you have to decide: is it only the monetary aspect you're running after? Because Lakshmi chanchal hoti hai. Today it's there, tomorrow it may not be there. So, but Saraswati, Vidya, is always with you. And she provides you stability. She gives you peace. So you have to have within yourself a beautiful balance of the two. It is just uh, now, when you're taking a career again, you have to be very careful that once having chosen a career, take the time to understand whether you really like it. Do not hesitate to admit to yourself that you have made a mistake and you do not want to take X career, but you want to switch uh, gears to another related or affiliated career. Because it is important to know yourself. It is also true that as you go along, you start realizing more and more about it. And another thing, be honest with yourself. Honesty is the only thing which will help you throughout your life. You have to be honest about your potentials, honest about what you can do, because yourself is the best mirror. Yes, there will be a lot of pressure from people around, from family around, for taking a particular path. Reason with them. Reason as to why you would not like to choose or suggest take the path suggested by them, and why you would like to pursue your heart's interest. Reason. Everybody understands to reason. And once reasoning it out, it is possible that they might be right. It is also possible that you are right. But finally, I would always say your heart is always telling you the right thing in case you're honest with yourself. And there should be no sense of delusion, because after all, a career is an important aspect. It's an important subject. It's something that is going to be making your life. So one has to be so focused and clear headed. Once having embarked on that career, I would also like to caution you, it is not a bed of roses. Any career, it's not a bed of roses. There are challenges, there are obstacles, there are thorns all over. Every moment is a new challenge. Every moment that you'll have a new thorn pricking you. Again, now it's your own inner determination, your own will. Are you able to withstand all those pressures? Are you able to withstand setbacks and failures? Because that is what is going to make you or break you. I'm telling you all these things because it's necessary for each one of us to know what lies ahead. So many times I've heard people say, oh, we thought it's going to be, the path will be smooth once having chosen this path, whatever path, whether it is a path of this or that or that. it's going to be. No, nothing is a bed of roses. Life is not a bed of roses. There are challenges each and every moment, even in our own lives, in our studenthood, career. After all, the challenge of the coming examination is there. The challenge of being able to get good grades is there. The challenge of being, and look at even the times today, the challenge provided by Corona and COVID 19 has, there are two ways of taking up these challenges. Either we sit inside our room and mope and be morbid about it, or face up new challenges and try and find new openings and new paths. And that's exactly what's going to happen every day of our lives. We have to. There will be setbacks, there will be failures, but be prepared for it. Find the, first of all, see your steely determination within you to be able to overcome those setbacks and failures, or find, like water finds its own outlet, find your own outlet. Be brave, create a new path for yourself. There's nothing like, if today so many opportunities have opened up, horizons of career options are there. Was it there in earlier times? Say in the 50s? No. Was the digital media there in the 50s? No. Was graphic designing there in the 50s in the kind, in the way that we are seeing it today? No. Today, all those are open. Look at the challenges of the 30s and 40s and 50s, when even a career in performing arts was a complete no. And especially if you happen to be a girl or even a boy, a complete no. Because it was meant for somebody else, not for a person from a good, educated family. But today, somebody took the lead. There are many pioneers, many people who opened the doors and went ahead and charted out a new career path, and then opened the doors for others to follow. So this is also, maybe you'll be the one to open another new door in the field of arts, in the field of performing arts, a completely different horizon till hitherto unthought of, that will create a new challenge, a new path, a new career opportunity, and open the doors for others to follow. So become an innovator, become a leader, even in the career of performing arts. You can be that. There are, again, as I'm speaking as a dancer, as a classical dancer, everybody, there was a time when taking to classical dance was, as I mentioned, a complete no. And yes, because I'm a product, I was born shortly after independence. So the atmosphere was very different. It was a completely different atmosphere. And yet we wanted to, we plodded our way. And today, performing arts is a very, very viable career option. For it gives you knowledge. And I'm saying that as a classical dancer. And I'm so happy that I'm a classical dancer, because first of all, let me look at it this way. Even in our Indian philosophy, the classical arts has been given great importance. When we are thinking of Lord Krishna, immediately the imagery that comes to mind is that of Krishna with the flute, you hardly ever think of him as the Dwarkadhish Krishna. If you portray him, whether in a graphic form or any form, there's always the flute with him. You are always associating him with dance. When you're thinking of Lord Shiva, his Damru is always there with him. You think of him as Nataraj. When you're thinking of course, career options, and I spoke about Saraswati, you have Veena in her hands. Here we are always seeing that knowledge of fine arts, knowledge of performing arts has been very dear and ingrained in our Indian philosophy. In fact, the interrelationship is so deep. As one of our sages, there's a very famous Sanskrit saying, Sahitya Sangeet Kala Vihina Sakshat Pashu Puchha Vishanehina. A person who does not have Sahitya, that means literature, Sangeet, music, Kala, performing arts, fine arts, in his life is like an animal without horn and tail. So, in other words, it's talking about the importance of fine arts, performing arts in each one's life. And as I said, I consciously chose to be a classical dancer uh, because and through that, I have stood enriched. I know the culture of my country. My roots are firm into the culture, but in the correct way, not in the ritualistic, dogmatic way, with an open mind. And that is what even our Shastras exhort us to do. They tell us to have an open, questioning mind, never to fall into the rut, but to keep questioning and moving forward. And that is, and there, and while having deep roots in your own culture. Again, I'm using the word, when I'm saying deep roots in your culture, that is with understanding, not in a ritualistic, dogmatic way. That you accept something and you just say that this is. For example, the openness of the mind to see how, through the world of classical arts, you see how things have changed. Say, even of the position of women in society, or say, even of I'm wearing a little nose pin. How many of you know? When did the nose pin come? Has anyone noticed? Now, here is observation. And another critical feature in our lives, in any career that we follow, particularly also in the performing arts, observation. How many of us have observed whether ancient Indian sculptures, where the women are bedecked with jewelry, sport a nose pin or a nose ring? At least I haven't found so. None of the sculptures, and I've gone to museums and museums, not only to the standing temples with sculptures in it because they are only a millennia old, but to all the sculptures of 2,300 years ago, which are lying in museums and which are complete. So, and Maurya period sculptures are three-dimensional sculptures. So none of them have the nose. So when did it come about? Now, if you see the medieval period paintings, they do have it. So do you see how you have to be so observant through the medium of dance, performing arts? My ancient Indian stotras do not talk of the ghungat or the nosepin, but the medieval period Literature, paintings, etc., talk of the ghungat and the nosepin. Look at the social changes, how society and the social norms have changed. Look at also, we think today that the churidar kurta is a gift of the medieval period. But perhaps I would like most of you to visit Patna Museum. And you'll find I use the word three-dimensional sculptures, where you'll see ancient Indian sculptures, Maurya period, where people are sporting the lehenga and call it a tight pajama or whatever, a tight fitting pajama and a flared out kurta and in a state of pirouette. So here we have a dancers of 2,300 years ago of the Maurya period sporting both the costumes. Who said it was only medieval period? Here, sculptures tell you another story. Now that is called observation. That is called opening the horizons of your mind, opening awareness, knowledge, and not being a frog in the well in your way of thinking, as is popularly thought. There are so many aspects. So the performing arts enriches you, your observation faculties, your thinking faculties in so many different ways. You're able to know your geography. Have you noticed the mountains of the north and the mountains of the southern India? And how it impacts even the way, the style of the dances. The northern style is almost like the tall mountains, which is erect, wanting to go up to meet the Atma wanting to meet the Paramatma. The southern India mountains are plateaued mountains, and that also is seen in the basic dance style. That was pointed out to me by a great literary person from Karnataka. Now, these are sense of minute observations which is associated with the discerning eye of the performing arts. And we hone that skill, we nurture that skill. We also learn how to, the same 5 notes, the same 7 notes, the same 12 notes. Look at the Sare Gama Pada Nisa. How it has taken a host of ragas. You have created multiplicity of ragas in it. When you're creating multiplicities of ragas in it, and then look at the harmonics, and the same thing is happening in the West and in the East, but the treatment is different. Here again, you have so much to know, to study, to learn. So once again, I'm saying that there is a lot of potential available if one's taking performing arts as a career. But I would like to warn you, in any field, there's always a path, a long path, where you struggle and you move forward, and there's always a shortcut to it, where you compromise your dignity and morals and ethics. The choice is yours. Personally, I would always choose the first one, the difficult path, and not the latter, because the latter is very short lived and the end is not perhaps the best. But the former, even though the path is tortuous, it's long, it's strenuous, but it brings you peace of mind, peace of heart. It brings you an anand inside. And at the same time, it contributes to your own personal growth. It earns you your living. It is not that you're not being able to earn a living. Anything, if you're just wanting to get by in any field, whether as this or that, yes, you'll be just on the fringes of earning. But if you do well, you are able to earn a living for yourself. Then, when Saraswati is with you and the mehnat, your own determination, your own perspiration and honesty is there, courage is there within you, then even Lakshmi comes to your doorstep. So both are there, but it depends on each one of us how we treat them. Running and I would always say, be very careful in life because it's so tempting to take the shortcut path, but that brings you to grief later on. Seize the joy, the anand of your own perspiration, of finding your own path, charting your own path on your own terms, inner terms of ethics, will bring you greater happiness in life. Because finally, in any career, even satisfaction and happiness within yourself is important because that will help you to contribute better and be a better career person. So it is up to each one of us. We are there. We have all the tools with us. Now it is up to us to apply it. I wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, do ask me. Please do not hesitate to ask me. I'm always open to people, to meet them, to talk to them. And of course, it's Corona time. You can always call me up. There are so many different media. Who knew this Zoom medium? Who knew all these digital medium earlier? Somebody found it. Some artist found it. And here it is that there is, and so many artists have now. Look at the world of performing arts. That even in these dark times, it is culture, it is the world of performing arts, which is bringing cheer in people's lives in so many ways. So let us be that person to bring that cheer in people's lives, to bring cheer in our own lives and in people's lives. Thank you. Namaskar. Wish you all the best.